So you guys really enjoyed watching me struggle with Abra to beat Fire Red with no items, really? But what if I told you I can make it even worse on myself? Even worse! Is that what you guys want? You just want me to, you want to see me struggle? I'll have no PP left and I just have to struggle? Is that what you want? Is that what you want from me? You sick. Abra may have seemed like a difficulty, but oh boy! Buckle up! What if we took one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time and single-handedly beat Pokemon Emerald? Nah. That's already been done. It's not really that difficult, but don't get me wrong, Japan Mickey Mouse isn't a good Pokemon by far, but let's just take it up a notch. Baby Pikachu! Pichu! Look at the stats on this big boy. That's not a lot of damage. I mean, even lowest of low tier in Smash Bros. Melee, and recently just got nerfed in Ultimate? Just tell us the rules to the challenge, bro! Frick! The rules will go something like this. I'll use the Pokemon Starter Program to start with Pichu, replacing Torchic with Pichu. That way my rival starts with a Mudkip and eventually gets the ground typing, so I won't be able to hit it with my electric type moves. I'll only be able to use Pichu in battle. I will have to catch other Pokemon to use HMs, but they will not be used in battle. And if they are dragged out in battle due to Roar or other effects, I will make sure to switch as fast as possible or use non-damaging moves. If you're worrying about double battles and you're a longtime Pokemon fan, don't you worry. I have a secret weapon for that. And most importantly, there will be no items used in battle. This video would have never happened if it wasn't for the inspiration of Mah-Dry-Bread, who does challenge videos with Pokemon similar to this at a weekly basis. But now that we got the rules out of the way, let's just jump right into this. First, we start this Pokemon journey by moving to the Hoenn region, where we meet our hero of this adventure. Insert name here. R9 Beats, baby! And where do we find our hero in the beginning of our grand adventure? In the back of a moving truck? So you're going to tell me that Mom just slapped us in the back of the U-Haul and then slapped a big fragile sticker on our forehead and put us beside Grandma's ashes? That seems like a very great idea. And it's totally not against the law to put a 10-year-old kid in the back of a moving truck, but it's fine. This game's pretty old and times were different. Back in, let's see, 2003. Anyways, let's just go inside and meet our mom. Of course, Mom tells us the most important thing to do the second we walk in the door is to set the clock. Well, she's Mom, so we go and set the clock while the Pokeslaves literally do everything else. And now it's time to set off to look for this game's professor. And he's not at his lab, Let's just go break into our neighbor's house. Nothing really out of the ordinary. The lady just tells us to go upstairs into her daughter's room unannounced. And she's not there. But it's fine, there's a Pokeball there, and we don't have any Pokemon or items, so of course, we stealing that shit. Didn't see you there. Sorry, I wasn't about to steal this. I was just looking. So after we attempt to use theft, and not the TM by the way, she says some stuff, and at the end of it, we don't even get to name her? What is this? This is ludicrous. Well, I don't care. I'm still calling her Patricia. Now, after trying to steal people's belongings, what's best to do? Head off into the woods and save someone, of course. Oh my god! It's the professor! How unexpected! And totally not convenient for the plot. He tells us to pick a Pokemon to save his life. And who do we choose? Grass Gecko? Water Abomination? Pokemon's mascot, but even cuter, with terrible stats? Who am I kidding? You guys saw the thumbnail. You guys already know who I chose. And Pichu takes out the Poochyena with no problem, with just a few Thunderbolts. Wow, maybe this is gonna be a breeze. I mean, Abra didn't even beat the first trainer. So we follow Professor Not Oak to the lab, and he's programmed to say massive, pointless text bubbles. So we get Pichu to keep, and who would have guessed? Everyone! Everyone would have guessed that! And what's the first thing we're gonna do with Pichu here? Well, name him, of course. And we're gonna name him Press Like. And come on, just look at him. Even 16-bit and dated. I didn't really know. You want to press that like. And we find out we tried to steal from his daughter. And the adventure begins. I mean, at least this time Mom's outside to see us off and gives us the ability to run. She's the nicest mom ever, even though she literally has slaves. Let the adventure begin! The first goal is to grind up a few levels before attempting the rival battle. Her Pokemon will only be a Mudkip at this time that doesn't really have the ground typing yet, so Thundershock should potentially take it out in a few hits. But we are going to have to grind levels regardless, and Pichu having the extremely low stats gives me a little worry. First thing I noticed was how extremely easy it was to train Pichu. A few Thundershocks took out literally everything in the nearby routes. I didn't even have to waste PP to struggle! Or so I thought. After grinding a few levels, I finally took on Patricia, and yep, a total joke of a battle. Maybe Thundershock will be a good enough move early game. What could possibly go wrong? After winning, we go back to the lab and receive our Pokedex and head back out. Professor, I'm doing this whole challenge with just one Pokemon, dude. You might as well just keep that dex. All the early trainers get blasted by Thundershock, and things are going pretty easy early on. We make our way to Petalburg City. Pittsburgh? The Pennsylvaniaburg? Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's Petalburg, but I also thought Lorelei was Laura Lee, so I understand. And yes, I saw your comments, I pronounced it wrong. My bad, dude. While we're here, we might as well check out the gym, and oh my god! Our dad is a gym leader? He asks us to accompany Wally as he catches his first Pokemon. And who would have guessed it? He gets a 1% encounter route because of plot armor. Yay! All joking aside, this fight is actually pretty funny because Wally could knock out the routes and the game text will still read that he caught it. After accompanying Wally on his adventure to catch his first Pokemon, we go back to the gym and we find out our dad isn't the first gym leader. Well, duh, he's not the first gym leader. The first gym leader is never in the first city in the first gym. And well, duh, he's our dad and he can beat up your dad, so he can't be the worst gym leader. With all that out of the way, we are ready to leave Petalburg City and head towards the real gym leader. We also hit level 11 by the way, and Pichu learns his last move that he can learn while leveling, Sweet Kiss. Similar to Confuse Ray, its only function is to confuse the opponent Pokemon. We'll have to rely on TMs for learning moves here on out, which by the way guys does not count as an item in battle. I don't know what the point is of saying the rules at the beginning of the video if you're not gonna listen! Frick! We find ourselves in Petalburg Woods, where we'll encounter our first roadblock. I love roadblocks! Roadblock? No! Bug Catcher James. Hey, I heard you chuckle, but why would a bug catcher be giving me any trouble? And it's because he has this devil spawn Pokemon! At first I thought, oh, first time seeing this Pokemon in this run, and then next thing you know, Thundershock does not affect Nincada. Oh, fuck. It's a ground and bug type. I had totally forgotten. I mean, it's not like this Pokemon gets used very often, let's be serious. This would mark the first battle that we lose. I could have Sweet Kissed it to confuse it, but I knew eventually what I would have to do. I would have to use all 100 total PP across all my moves to unlock the hidden weapon, Struggle! If you haven't seen our first challenge, Struggle is where your Pokemon just basically hurls itself at the opposing Pokemon. After eventually wasting all my PP and knocking out Nincada, I was certain we would be in the clear at least for a while, long enough for us to get a damaging move for Pichu that wasn't an electric. And spoiler alert, oh, I was wrong. We also encounter a Devon Corporation worker who asks us to help defend him against Team Rocket? Wait, these guys are much more pirate looking. Team Aqua? We take out his Poochyena easily and we are rewarded with our first Great Ball. After finding our way through the woods, we would come across the first gym city, Rustboro City, home of the Devon Corporation and home to the Rock-type specialist gym leader, Roxanne. Ooh! That's a no good. And well, the first trainer has a Geodude, so you know what we gotta do. 100 wasted PP later. We attempt the first rock-type trainer. I saved one Sweet Kiss so we can confuse the Geodude before using Struggle in hopes it will hit itself, which he does a few times. Luckily our ability Static comes in clutch. by paralyzing Geodude to give us the hand. Static comes into effect when Pichu is hit by a physical move like Tackle, paralyzing the opponent Pokemon. We end up struggling our way through Geodude, but just barely with only 9 HP. After healing and wasting all of our PP yet again, it's time for the trainer number 2. And it's not even close. This bad boy got 2 Geodudes and struggle just ain't gonna cut it. I go to train up Pichu a bit on the route up ahead. Doing so, I run into a trainer with a Nincada, who beats me due to having all my PP, and another trainer with a Geodude. They aren't gonna make this easy, are they? I also caught a Whismur thinking it was a shiny because no shinies get left behind, and I guess that's just how they look in this game. It's not even shiny. I went into every possible building, talked to every single NPC I could find, and I didn't find a single TM that Pichu could learn. I just take on the gym yet again, being more than double his level and confusing his first Geodude, and continuing to struggle for the remainder of the battle clutches me the victory after far too long. I know it would be a difficult journey, but I couldn't even get a decent start. I take on the last trainer no problem afterwards. It's time to challenge Roxanne. She opens up with a Geodude that hits us not once, but 3 times with Rock Tomb, and we are taken out before I can even take her first Geodude out with Struggle. That's her first of 3 Pokemon, by the way. I try many a times trying to beat Roxanne, but it looks like our current level ain't cutting it. After getting up to level 22, I decide enough's enough, and I'll take my chances and attempt Roxanne, not even exaggerating, 50 times, resetting every time I lost so I didn't lose all of my money like last time. But unfortunately, we do not gain experience this way, but it ended up working out after all. What seemed like an impossibly lucky run of misses and crits, we finally get our first gym badge. The most difficult part of our journey last time was just beating the first gym. Let's see if that stays true this time around. It doesn't get easier. Once we leave the gym, we find out that Team Aqua is up to no good yet again. So we go save someone's Wingull and recover the Devon goods, and oh my god, is that you? Subscribe! Oh buddy! Yes, we got the legendary Subscribe, and with him we can effectively do forced double battles without breaking any rules. And that's because Abra can literally only learn Teleport on his own, and that can't interfere in double battles whatsoever. So we recover the goods and save the Wingull. Doing so, the owner of the Wingull, Mr. Brimley, offers us free boat rides whenever we need it, and the owner of the Devon Corporation offers us a Pokénav, which is basically just a phone that people put their number in even if you don't want it. Only thing left to do is visit Mr. Brimley and catch a ferry ride to the next important location. But before doing that, we are greeted by our rival Patricia as she wants to battle, and now she has a Torkoal that uses Curse 3 times in a row, and we take it out without even getting hit. She then sends out her starter, which still doesn't have the ground typing just yet, so we take it out easily with 2 Thundershocks. We also encounter our first double battle with our 2 legends. Press like and subscribe. And we make it to Mr. Brimley's place, where he and his Wingull are running around so sporadic it's pretty even hard to get his attention.
Why are you running?
We get in his boat and he brings us to our first new location, Dewford City. We have 2 objectives here. One is to find the Devon Corporation's son, Steven, and give him the letter that he entrusted us with. He's inside this cave here, being all creepy looking at rocks, but we get it done. I'm also making sure to battle every single trainer we see on the way, especially if they're a fisherman, because as far as I'm concerned, that's basically free real estate. It's time for our second gym battle, which I somehow walked through without encountering a single trainer in the dark, unknowingly ending up in front of the gym leader. The battle itself was a walk in the park, barely taking any damage at all. The only hard part was seeing the lights come on and seeing all of the experience and trainers that I missed out on. We head back to the boat and Mr. Brimley takes us to Slayport City. There are plenty of trainers here and double battles, and seriously guys, name a more iconic duo than these 2 here. Most of the trainers here have water type Pokemon, making it basically free experience and Sody Pops. In town there are multiple Team Aqua members occupying the area in front of the museum, blocking entry. After hearing our Pokemon, the line seems to have disappeared and Team Aqua are all inside the museum. We go into the museum after Team Aqua, and their Poochyena, Zubats, and Carvanas stand no chance against Pichu. We continue on past Slayport, where we run into Professor Not Oak, and he gives us some pointless stuff for our Pokénav. Afterwards, there's a bunch of double battles and single battles, and I ended up clearing out Ninja's house, but other than that, nothing really too game-changing. Until, however, we run into Patricia again. This time leading into it, I know she's going to have the ground-typing Marshtomp, so we won't be able to hit it with Thundershock. So I waste all of my moves except for one Sweet Kiss Kiss and 1 Thundershock for her first Pokemon. After Sweet Kiss, Thundershocking, and struggling her first Pokemon, the Lombre goes down. And out comes the major threat, Marshtomp. It wouldn't be that bad if we just couldn't hit it, but it also has Mudshot, which one hits our Pichu regardless of our HP. After attempting this many a times, resetting the game every time I lost, I finally get a run where the first Mudshot misses, I hit it with the struggle, and then I end up following up with a crit. The luckiest possible chance. But you gotta understand that I did this so many times that it was bound to happen eventually. She then sends out her Slugma, which we take out in a few struggles. If we have any more of these battles like this, I'm about to join Team Aqua cause the ground types suck! We make it to the next gym in Mauville City. Here we'll run into Wally for the first time since we helped him catch Relts, and we're forced to show him that he is nowhere ready for this gym battle. I can't help but feel bad for Wally. He just wants to be a strong trainer and prove himself, and here I am with an overleveled baby Pokemon just smacking him up. I should mention that I am talking to every single NPC in the game, hoping that they'll give me a TM, and we finally strike gold. This lovely pixel gentleman teaches us our first TM that Pichu can learn, and it's Rollout, a super effective move on the electric typing, which happens to be the typing of the gym. What a convenience. Before the gym, however, I do battle every single trainer nearby, getting Pichu to level 33, which for the record I thought was going to be far too high really, but it turns out it wasn't even high enough to make the gym leader easy. After a lot of failed attempts, I tried to go for a perfect Rollout run. Like I mentioned, Rollout is super effective on most of his Pokemon, and it gets stronger the more times it hits successfully. It does have decent accuracy, but his Pokemon tend to paralyze me. After getting a successful run where Rollout hits and doesn't miss, it's incredible how much difference it makes. Rollout ends up steamrolling all of his Pokemon except for his last Pokemon. The Rollout stack eventually does end, but I start a new Rollout and take him out in 3 hits. He gives us the TM Shockwave, which is just a stronger electric move that never misses, so I changed Thundershock out for it. I go back to murdering every single trainer that I lock eyes with. No one's safe from locking eyes with me. I'm like Cyclops from the X-Men, god damn! While massacring trainers, I run across this guy who teaches us Secret Power. Another move that Pichu can learn! It's a normal type move that does different effects based on where you are when you use it. After a lot of battles, we make it to the next notable city, and it doesn't have a gym here, so we continue back on our journey. Just outside the city, however, there is a cave called Meteor Falls where we'll encounter our first ever Team Aqua in red! Just as we're about to battle them for the first time, the real Team Aqua show up and we find out that it's called Team Magma. After this little scuffle, however, I did forget exactly where I was supposed to go, so I took this time to battle every single trainer yet again. After remembering where to go, I then take this cool ski lift and we take on Team Magma for the first time. We're trying to shoot a giant laser into the volcano with some Dr. Evil kind of stuff. Team Magma are the true enemy of this game because they want to make more ground types. Surprisingly, they don't have that many ground types for the grunts, so I take them all out until I make it to Maxie, the leader of Team Aqua Red. Nothing too out of the ordinary with his Pokemon until this thing, Camerupt, which takes us out with 1 magnitude no matter what. So I end up confusing him with Secret Power, and he hits himself twice just so that he could restore his health with a Hyper Potion. Fortunately, the last move I went for was Rollout before he went to heal, so I did get to stack the Rollout until he took him out. After defeating Team Magma and effectively saving the world, what are we gonna go do next? Oh, go massacre more trainers, of course. Until we finally make it to the next gym. Lavaridge Town, an excellent place to relax with some hot babes. And by hot babes, I mean temperature, because this place is full of hot springs. It's time for the Fire-type gym, and with Rollout, this shouldn't be that difficult. After only 1 failed attempt this time, we stack that Rollout and take all of her Pokemon out. Things are starting to actually look up for once. Patricia is outside the gym after we win, and she gives us the go-go goggles so that we could go into the sand. After going there, however, I realized that there's no real reason to be here, and I just beat all the trainers and leave. It's finally time to go back to the first city and take on our dad. Each room of the gym has a trainer that specializes in one thing, whether it be speed, defense, attack. Nothing really too worrying until we make it to the last 2 rooms, where there is a 1-hit knockout room and the strength room, both of which do kill my Pichu in 1 to 2 hits. After barely scraping by, I finished those 2 rooms and it's time to finally take on our dad. To show the slightest disrespect to our dad, I'm gonna make sure I call this man Norman for this battle. After failing a bunch of times, even on his first Pokemon in some runs, I realized that the Rollout technique will be the most likely only way to beat this. And I was right. His Slacking is just way too strong, Norman. You gotta chill on that Slacking, dude. Thankfully, if you paralyze it, you do have a chance for it to be paralyzed on its only move it can do, because it can only move every 2 turns. So for once, being an electric type actually had its benefits, and we pull through with the victory royale. Take that, Norman! Normie Norman! After defeating our dad, I make our way back up to Mauville City, where the power plant is malfunctioning, and we go through and do a little side quest to save it, granting us the TM Thunderbolt, which I replaced Shockwave with. Now that we defeated our dad, we can also use Surf to travel outside of battle. So I caught a Peekaboo and taught it Surf. After a long journey of surfing and walking through various routes, we finally make it to this weather station where Team Aqua is holding up the whole place. After Buff Pichu slaps Team Aqua easily, we get a cast form for our struggles. Send him to the box! After heading back out, we encounter Patricia again for another rival battle. Although Mudshot almost takes us out in one hit, we're just way too high level for her to even have a chance. Just shortly after this, we finally make it to another city. Fortnite City! Okay, it's Fort Tree City. The gym is being blocked by some invisible entities, so I continue to go on the route until we run into Steven, who gives us some goggles to see invisible enemies. Oh, it's just a Geico. Save 5% on car insurance when you are invisible. So we take it out and go back to the gym now that we can see dead people. Invisible things. With the gecko out of the way, now we can finally go into the gym. And what type gym is this? Flying gym? Sign me up! What could possibly go wrong in a flying gym? Not like they'll have a flying type that's also a dragon that knows Earthquake that takes out your Pokemon in one hit. No, that wouldn't happen. Not in a perfect playthrough. So after some major setbacks, I eventually do take out the Altaria take it out by stacking rollouts, because rollout is super effective to flying regardless of the dragon typing. And we have yet another gym badge! Nothing interesting would really happen until we make it to Lily Cove City, where we'll encounter Patricia again for another rival battle. After failing to beat her the first 6 times, I decide I'll come back to this battle when I'm just extremely overleveled. So I go to Mount Pyre, where Team Aqua is holding up the very top of the mountain. They're attempting to steal the red orb. But aren't you guys the blue team? Like, why do you want the red one? It doesn't really work. I do, however, take them out, but they still somehow get the red orb anyways, and head back to Lily Cove and take Patricia out, no problem this time. After this, I'm a little confused of where to go again. I know, I'm sorry, I'm not the most remembering guy when it comes to Gen 3, but I remember where to go after, and we find our way in the next Team Magma hideout, which happens to be on the mountain in the same area I couldn't figure out where to go last time. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You know, back to the same place I couldn't remember last time. This time, they're drilling giant holes in the ground, making mazes full of just machinery and a high quantity of magma grunts. We finally make it to Maxi, and he's found Ground God, Groudon, and thank gosh we don't have to fight Groudon, because that would have sucked. We just take out Maxi, no problem, and then we continue on with our adventure. Other than the Ground God is actually free out there, and he's just blowing up volcanoes. Not my problem. Back to murdering trainers. While we were fighting off Red Team Aqua, the real Team Aqua was stealing a submarine to go find the Water God. See, the Water God, I can deal with that. That's super effective, the thunder and stuff, you know, the other way around. The only way we'll be able to find that submarine is if we know how to use the move Dive. And we can only learn Dive if we have the 7th gym badge. So after a quick surf over the 8 out of 10 too much water, we make it to Moss Deep, home of the Psychic Gym. Oh, Psychic, that's nice. That can't be that much of a big deal. Oh, they have 2 gym leaders instead of 1? That's fair, that's whatever. It's a double battle. I got subscribed. It's time for press like and subscribe to show them what we really got. Until I see they have our kryptonite. Earthquake. This was single-handedly the longest part of the entire playthrough. Trying to find a way to beat these 2 trainers with just a Pichu was so difficult. With no way to learn Iron Tail yet, this is way too difficult. Even after learning Return with full happiness and getting a critical hit wasn't enough to take out his Earthquake using Pokemon. After attempting this, I don't even know how many times, I finally get a lucky run and take out his and her Pokemon with Thunderbolt. I never thought I would say this, guys, but this is already turning out to be way harder than the entire Abra challenge. With that out of the way, we go and help Steven battle Team Magma, who are trying to steal a rocket. Like, stop stealing stuff! I'm 10 years old, I don't have time to deal with this! I have only 1 Pokemon that's a baby! The other one just runs away with Teleport! At this point, I'm really starting to feel like it's Dark Souls, the amount of times that I'm dying, but Me and Steven eventually take out the last of Team Magma, and they don't steal a rocket in the end, so they're not Team Rocket, we know that now. With that all out of the way, Steven finally teaches us dive, and we go find Team Real Aqua in their submarine underneath the bottom of the ocean. We go through all their mazes, beat all their people, and oh yeah, and they kind of like awoken like some big giant sea god, but at this point, like, man, I don't even know what to say, man. I'm so done with this stuff. At this point of the story, we go back to the surface and we find the two head honchos of Team Red and Team Blue talking about how bad they messed up. Like, obviously, Steven shows up and tells us where to go, and then we go there, and then there's just a battle between Red and Blue teams, mascots fighting. I really hope the blue guy wins at this point. I don't really like the ground type anyways. And then we're told, you know, you 10-year-old kid that like beat all these red and blue guys, why don't you go find a dragon that can stop this fight? So of course, we go find a dragon that can stop this fight, and he finally breaks it up. Saying this plot out loud really reminds me of how freaking ridiculous this is. Just let me beat the game with one Pichu. After all that, we can finally take on the 8th gym badge, and I really hope this can be at least a decent gym battle. It turns out he is the ice gym leader, which means we are gonna have a sweep, and we did have a sweep because his whole team is mostly just water and ice, so we're good until we hit his wish cache, which has an earthquake. Luckily, we can survive one earthquake and take it out with 2 returns, outspeeding him. And the rest is a sweep. Finally, all 8 gym badges. Now that we have all 8 badges, we can get Waterfall and head off to the last area where the Elite Four will be. The town the Elite Four is in is guarded by a giant waterfall, but we have all 8 badges, so we'll have no problem just sliding up through there. Peekaboo, climb us up to the top. We finally make it to Victory Road, and after a few trial and error phases of trying to figure out where to go in the dark, I finally make it to an area where Wally is, and at this point, like, I'm feeling really sorry for him, but I just want to have this challenge done, so I just thunderbolt the hell out of his team. And we finally made it to the Elite Four, and it's time to see just how far along this journey we have came. Hopefully this isn't a Lorelei situation where I can't beat the first— Oh my god, it is! I can't even beat the first Elite Four member who has a dark type Pokemon. Like, they're not even like super resistant against my moves, and I'm struggling hard here, boys. After trial and error with a whole bunch of different methods, it turns out that rollout was our best guess, and I go for the rollout method and eventually take him out. The second Elite Four member was Phoebe, the ghost type specialist. She starts with a Duskull that I managed to take out with a few Thunderbolts, but then she sends out the second Gustball that knows Earthquake. What'd you say? The Dusclops way. I go back to my save in front of Phoebe, and then in the first turn, she curses my Pichu that takes 25% of its HP every turn. So I guess it's time to take it back, Daddy-O. Reverse. 2 hops this time. After battling the first 2 members over and over again, I end up making it to level 84, and I eventually make it through Phoebe, and this time, things are gonna be different. Psych! It wasn't until I made it to level 86 where I finally could scrape bypass Phoebe, and every turn I could have lost it. So we finally make it to the 3rd Elite Four member, Glacia, and I'm getting Lorelei flashbacks, and we finally beat her first try. Oh my god! Thunderbolt and Iron Tail cover her entire team's weaknesses. We might do it. I was really starting to lose hope here. It's time for the Dragon Trainer Drake. And his first Pokemon is really bulky. Shelgon is no joke, surprisingly. After taking it out eventually, after taking some decent damage in return, he sends out Flygon, and I love me some Fly— It has Earthquake too? Oh my gosh. In no case scenario can we survive. After eventually attempting enough times, I get a crit return and it takes it out in one shot somehow. After he sends out his Altaria, which he full restores many times, and Thunderbolt eventually takes out Altaria. Kingdra and Salamence go down with little to no room for error. To think, level 87 and we're still not high enough. That worries me a little bit for the champion. Wait, where's Steven? You ain't my champion. Oh yeah, this is Emerald, and that's Wallace. This is gonna be a breeze. Wrong. He has Earthquake Wish Cache that in no scenario I can take out without leveling, so I have to attempt and fail the Elite Four until I'm actually level 100. I use my last rare candies that I picked up to get the last 3 levels, and it's now or never. Level 100 Pichu versus Sydney, and all of his Pokemon only survive 1 to 3 hits. My Niantic goes down to 1 T-Bolt, Shiftry 2 returns, Cacturne takes a few returns, and then it's fully healed until we eventually take it out, and Crawdon and Absol are both taken out with 1 T-Bolt. and the real challenge begins. After being stalled out by Protects, I finally 2-hit Phoebe's first Duskull and 1-hit the second one with Iron Tail after remembering ghost types usually have low defense. I continued to take out the rest of her team with 1 or 2 Iron Tails, and it wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. PTSD. Glacia is next, and Thunderbolt and Iron Tail cover her entire team, one-hitting all of her Pokemon. Drake is next. 2 Thunderbolts take out his Shelgon, and Evil Devil Spawn Flygon is back, and it takes 3 runs, but I finally end up critting the Flygon with Return and 1-hit it. I T-Bolt and paralyze the Altaria first turn and take it out in the second with the T-Bolt. He then sends out his Kingdra, and I crit it with 1 T-Bolt as well. Now for his last and scariest Pokemon, Salamence, and the first T-Bolt takes it down to its berry, thankfully stopping Drake from healing it, and then the second one does the charm. Finally, the final battle. His Wailord is a 1-hit by T-Bolt, and his health takes a long time to reach 0 though. Same goes for his Gyarados. But now is his Wish Cache, and this was rage-inducing since I needed a crit, but after about 18 tries we finally got it, and we can finally battle the rest of his team. Tentacool was almost knocked out in 1 T-Bolt, he fully heals it, and then I take it out the second time. Next is Ludicolo, who I opt for an old reliable T-Bolt, and that ends up doing the job after he does 2 double teams. Time for his last Pokemon, Melodic, the extremely bulky wall of a Pokemon who survives 1 T-Bolt and takes him down to its berry and hits us really hard with Surf, bringing us to the red zone just before the second T-Bolt connects and we become Pokemon champions. We did it. I never truly believed this would have been more difficult than the last challenge. Who would have thought that the Pokemon's mascot as a baby would turn out to be even worse than a Pokemon who only learns 1 move that does no damage? If you made it to the end of this video, you seriously deserve your own press like at this point. Wow, that was a mission to make. As always, shout out to Mah-Dry-Bread for the inspiration. He does these challenge videos once a week. I have no idea how he does that. These videos are not easy to make. And also, thanks to everyone that's joined the channel since the last video. I cannot believe I already hit over 2,000 subscribers at the time of recording this. I'm taking every suggestion from the comments and making a new series of challenges that won't be as long to make, so I can put out 1 a week in between our full challenge videos. The first suggestion that I'm pulling from the comments is to beat the Elite Four with only a Mr. Mime that we got from trading Subscribe. Spoiler alert, I never actually traded Subscribe. I saved before the trade and then didn't save after. As always, I've been Ryan aka R9Beats, and make sure you have yourselves a damn good one.